Have you ever noticed something odd? Some of the kindest people you know, the ones who always show up, always offer help, always smile, also seem to be the most tired. Their generosity is ceaseless, their patience unending, but something about them gives off a quiet weariness. Why is that? Why does kindness, something we praise, something we encourage, sometimes feel like a burden? Today, we dive into the hidden landscape of kindness, the inner workings of kind people's minds, the patterns they fall into, and the consequences they quietly carry. This isn't a condemnation of kindness, far from it. Genuine kindness is one of the most beautiful expressions of human connection. But kindness can carry a shadow. When we ignore that shadow, kindness can become destructive, to others and to ourselves. 1. The roots of kindness. How it begins for many kind people. The pattern of giving and putting others first starts early. As children, some learn that when they are agreeable, helpful, or self-sacrificing, they earn approval, affection, or love. Action or love. They figure out, if I make others comfortable, I'll be safe. Over time, this builds a psychological habit. Kindness becomes not just a choice, but a survival strategy. If I am useful, I am okay. If I am useful, I am okay. Psychologists call this other-focused self-worth, where a person's value is tied to how much they give, rather than who they are. The kind person grows into adulthood believing that their worth, their identity, is defined by their kindness. They become the reliable one, the helper, the person who always says yes. Yet, there is a subtle shift. The giving is no longer only from abundance. It begins from a place of need, the need to be needed, the fear of being ignored. The instinct whispers, if I rest, if I say no, will I still matter? At first glance it looks admirable. But under the surface, the pressure builds. 2. The shadow side of kindness. Kindness, when unrestricted, carries risks. When you always say yes, when you always put others before yourself, several things happen. Compassion fatigue. People who constantly give emotional energy without replenishing it are at high risk for burnout, anxiety, and even health issues. Self-neglect hidden under virtue. Because kindness is socially praised, the kind person's self-care becomes secondary. They rarely ask for help or say no. They water everyone else's garden but forget their own roots. Invisibility through repetition. Over time, people begin to expect kindness. The helper becomes the default. Requests multiply. The kind person becomes invisible, not because they aren't seen, but because their boundaries aren't acknowledged. Hidden resentment and suppressed emotion. Emotions suppressed don't disappear. They ferment. A person who always gives and never receives builds a silent resentment. The kindness that once felt like a gift begins to feel like a duty. These aren't moral flaws. They are human patterns. Kindness without boundaries, driven by fear or obligation, can become a form of self-erasure. What kindness brings, and what it demands the benefits. Research shows that performing acts of kindness boosts happiness, reduces stress, increases social connection, and even benefits physical health. Simple acts such as holding a door, sharing food, or volunteering are linked with better mood and lower stress levels. The demands, but kindness also demands energy. When kindness is unexamined, it requires unlimited emotional bandwidth, constant readiness to serve, silence of one's own needs, sacrifice of personal comfort. The paradox is this: kindness can be abundant, but not if you're always giving and never always giving. Replenishing. Over time, the kind person can sink into exhaustion or even depression. Psychologists even call it pathological altruism, help that ends up harming the helper. 4. What happens in real life? Let's see what this looks like in the real world. The always available friend. You have a friend who drops everything when you call. They listen for hours, drive across town, cheer you up, but there's tiredness in their eyes. They feel guilty if they don't answer. They've forgotten how to say, I need help too. The giving parent. A parent gives their time, energy, and love without pause, believing that love is something to be earned. Their identity becomes the caregiver. When they need care, they don't know how to receive it. The compassionate professional. Teachers, nurses, and therapists. Caring professions are full of kind people. They feel they must always give, always care. But without boundaries, their gift turns into a burden. Kindness begins with abundance but slowly depletes. The kind person doesn't notice, because they're too busy caring for everyone else. 5. Why kind people fall into this pattern. Early conditioning. When children grow up in environments where love is conditional, you're loved when you're helpful. Kindness becomes the path to belonging. Empathy and brain wiring. Our brains are wired to connect. Mirror neurons activate when we see others in distress, helping releases dopamine and serotonin. It feels good, but constant giving without recovery overwhelms the system. Lack of permission to rest. Kind people often feel unsafe when they rest. To stop feels selfish, so they keep going until they break. Social expectations. When someone is reliably kind, others depend on it. They are treated as inexhaustible. The pressure grows. Boundary erosion. Saying no feels wrong. They fear rejection. So kindness becomes the safer choice, but it costs them peace. 6. The consequences when kindness turns into obligation. This is what happens. Emotional burnout. They feel empty, anxious, or powerless. Resentment. They start to feel bitterness toward people they once helped with love. Identity crisis. Who am I if I'm not helping? Unbalanced relationships. They become support systems instead of equal partners. Physical exhaustion, chronic stress, and lack of rest start affecting their health. Kindness without balance is not kindness. It's self-neglect in disguise. 7. How to practice healthy kindness. Include yourself in your kindness. True kindness includes you. Ask, can I give this and still honor myself? Practice the pause. Before saying yes, pause and check if you truly have the energy. Learn gentle boundaries. Saying no isn't rude, it's honest. I care, but I can't right now. Redefine your identity. Your worth is not measured by how much you give. Resting and receiving are part of a complete life. Seek reciprocity. Kindness grows best in exchange, giving and receiving in balance. Listen to your emotions. Fatigue or anger are signals, not flaws. They remind you to care for yourself, not flaws. They remind you to care for yourself. Show compassion inward. Be as gentle with yourself as you are with others. You deserve the same care. 8. The transformation of kindness. Imagine a form of kindness that doesn't burn out. A quieter, deeper kind of generosity. It looks like this. Giving with rest, not exhaustion. A heart that helps and also heals. Boundaries that protect. Peace. Relationships built on respect and mutual care. Joy instead of duty in giving. This is true kindness. Not endless sacrifice, but balanced generosity. Kindness that sustains, not drains. Conclusion. So when someone says, "You're so kind," take a moment. Ask yourself, is my kindness coming from abundance or fear? From love or obligation? If you feel tired or invisible, you're not broken. You're human. You've just been giving without refilling. This is your invitation to shift, to rest, to redefine kindness. Because the greatest kindness you can give the world is to show up as your whole self. Your kindness doesn't have to cost you your well-being. It can uplift you, strengthen you, and root you deeper into peace. If this message resonated, like the video, subscribe, and share it with someone who gives too much. Let's spread awareness that real kindness starts from within.